Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. I'm your host, Kiera Dent, and I have this crazy idea that maybe I could combine a doctor and a team member's perspective because let's face it, dentistry can be a challenging profession with those two perspectives. I've been a dental assistant, treatment coordinator, scheduler, biller, office manager, regional manager, practice owner, and I have a team of traveling consultants where we have traveled to over 165 different offices coaching teams. Yep, we don't just understand you, we are you. Our mission is to positively impact the world of dental, and I believe that this podcast is the greatest way I can help elevate teams, grow VIP experiences, reduce stress, and create A-teams. Welcome to the Dental Team Podcast. Hello, Dental Team listeners. This is Kiera, and I have the one and only Spiffy Tiffy back on the pod. TT, how you doing today?
No, I'm so good. I love podcasting with you. I love interacting with you because, I feed off of energy, and your energy is always so positive. So thank you.
So thanks for that, Tiff. And for those of you who haven't heard, Tiff and I haven't shared a lot of our life lately because we don't podcast as much anymore. But Tiff and I did have a soup eye together. We hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, only 3 years in the making of trying to get those tickets because we got them COVID year and then finally got to go this year. But yeah, I feel like I've got all this energy now. And then I surely phased off like at the bottom of that hill. Like it was pretty epic. We'll leave that for another time. I won't share the gruesome. They weren't really that gruesome, but gosh, I got sick and I had zero energy and Tiff was carrying the whole energy that afternoon. But it's been fun. And Tiff, I'm super excited because today's a fun topic for all of you listening. It's going to be on how to increase that case acceptance. And so with that, for all of you who are listening, if the podcast has blessed you in any way, shape, or form, if you have taken a single nugget from this podcast, go do us a favor and leave us a review. Those 5 stars really do help put us at the top of the dental podcast. So when new people are searching for content, your reviews are what make it to where people find us. So there's no way for us to reach millions of users without you. And so share it on social media. And just so you know, I appreciate you. I read your reviews. I've shouted out quite a few of you on the podcast for your reviews. So with that, let's talk about, do you want dessert? So Tiff, I'm going to just pretend you're at a restaurant right now. And we're just going to do 2 different scenarios, okay? So I come to you, and I just want you guys to think about this. I come to Tiffany. Tiffany's eating dinner. I'm her waitress. And I'm like, okay, Tiff, so your food was great. So are we thinking dessert tonight?
I definitely am not. I'm so full. I'm good. Thank you, though.
Okay, got it. Here's your check. I'll be your cashier whenever you're ready.
So glad you already had that ready for me. Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Because clearly I'm planning for you to pay the bill right now. So that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is, hey, Tiff, I hope you had like the best dinner tonight. Just so you know, here are our desserts tonight. My favorite is definitely the tiramisu. We also have a really, really, really awesome molten chocolate cake. What are you feeling? Are you in that chocolate gooey mood? Are you more in like the cookie mood? What's kind of filling your sweet tooth tonight?
I love a molten chocolate cake, actually. And I didn't really want anything, but I really want that now.
Oh, girl, I got you. It's definitely my favorite. I'll make sure the kitchen gets that right on for you. It'll be out in just a few minutes. Do you guys want like 4 spoons to share, or are you guys just looking for solo you, Tiff?
Oh, this is all me.
All you. All right. So do we need to add 2 in there for the rest of this crew, or okay, got it. I'll put 2 in for the kitchen. You got it. I'll be bringing that out to you guys in just a minute. All right. TT. Explain to me, how was the difference between those 2 scenarios when you go to a restaurant? Because all of us have experienced this. Every single one of us. I've had both of those scenarios. And also notice what Tiffany did on both the scenarios. So Tiff, on your side, how was it?
Yeah, and I want you guys to know, like, that's literally how I respond in person. Because number one, when you assume, right, she's printed the check, she's got it in the little booklet, she's assumed that I'm not going to want dessert because we got an appetizer and we had a meal, right? Whatever the case is, they're always assuming that they're going to get the no on the dessert. And so they get the no and they've already got it printed, ready to go. They made that decision before they ever came and asked me. I know that because they printed my ticket and it was ready to go. So I know for a fact that they were prepped for me to say no from the get-go. So they laid that foundation when they printed that ticket, right? So I'm always like, oh, thanks for having that ready for me. Here's my card. You're good to go. But then the other example, right, and this actually happened to me yesterday. Brody and I went for Thai food, and she came over to the table just like you just did, and she said, "Hey guys, I don't know if you've saved a lot of room, but we've got a couple of desserts on our menu that I really like, and are you guys interested? There's one, the sticky rice with the mango, which guys, that was so
Oh,
amazing."
get
I
that
said
mango
yes.
sticky rice
It
every
was so
time.
good. I'd never had it before, and I was like, "Why have I been missing out on
Oh,
this my whole
Tiffany,
life?"
I feel like I've failed you for the
You
last 6
failed me.
years.
I was
Oh,
like,
it's
what
so
is this?
good.
It was so good. But she did it differently, right? She wasn't rushed. She was the only waitress in the restaurant. There were about 5 tables, Thai food, right? So it was a smaller place, but she had about 5 tables. 3 of them were large families. So she's the only one, but she came over to us and she was like, "Hey guys," like she got to my table and
Mhm.
centered herself. She was with us, and she laid it out for me that way, and we got dessert because she didn't assume the no. She assumed, yeah, they're gonna want sticky rice and mango. Why would you not? Brody was eating the sticky rice saying, "I think I'm gonna throw up. I'm so full." But we were
And
like,
it's
"We
so
got this
good.
dessert. It's so good." We didn't stop. Surely he was fine. I'm like, "You're gonna find the room. You're 15. You're gonna find the room." But
Absolutely.
that's how it worked. And then I had another experience actually. A few weeks ago. We ended up saying no because we truly didn't want it. But the presentation, the waiter walked away, and both of us were like, "Wow, that was pretty freaking cool." So not only did he assume the yes, which he should have, he came over and he's like, "All right, guys, dessert time." He had this tray of
Mhm.
all of the desserts available. So I could see visually what the desserts were, just brought it right over, and he was like, these are the desserts. And I'm telling you, if I could have fit a dessert, it would have been a yes for me. But it was still a no, but that's okay, right? Because next time, now it's planted in my head. So
Mhm.
next time I know, save room for dessert because those things looked amazing. So I think kind of that, all of those pertaining to treatment planning, right? Assume the yes because heck yeah, they're going to want to get their treatment done. And when they say no, if they say no, you've planted a seed. And so you've made it easier the next time when you follow up with that person, you've made it easier to get them scheduled because you didn't plant the no. You
Right.
assumed the yes, you brought the information, and when you follow up in 2 days and you're like, "Hey, let's get this scheduled." If I could have gone back 2 days later and gotten that freaking cheesecake, I would have, right? Because they planted that seed. And I think that's one of the important pieces that we miss, right? We're like, assume the yes. And then they're like, "They said no. And this doesn't work." No, it worked. It worked because you planted that seed. And now you've just got to do the follow up.
Well, and I love this so much because all of us can relate to the restaurant. All of us have been there. And I'm like, how many times do people come in and you are auto trained to say no? Like,
Yep.
"Hey guys, are we thinking of dessert?" They teed it up for you to say no versus the other one's like, "All right, dessert time. So we've got this. Which one are you thinking?" And honestly, every time they say that, I'm like, "Well, which one am I thinking?" I'm thinking I want this and it looks delicious, even though I was going to tell you no. And
Yep.
so also I hope you guys heard when Tiff just did the follow-up of when she called the pretend patient of like, "Hey, let's get this scheduled." Once again, Tiffany's words were, "Let's get this scheduled." And so I just wanted to point out today, I've been thinking about this every time I go to the restaurant. I'm like, you lost another cell. If you would have just come to me and said, "All right, guys, here's dessert. Let's get this. This one's my favorite," and made it sound amazing, they would probably close about 90% more desserts than if they say, "Are we thinking dessert?" So for
For sure.
you, I was thinking about practices when I had this topic for me and Tiff of like, how often are we shutting it down like they are with dessert? So I wanted to give you guys an analogy where you can think about this and then hear yourself do it at the office. And this goes for doctors, clinical team members, and front office team members of how often are we basically just assuming and shoving the receipt, assuming they're not going to want the dessert? How often are we assuming like, they're not going to do this? Even if you say the right words, but internally you're thinking, "Oh, they don't want this." People feel that
Yep.
versus feeling like, "Hey, I love this dessert and I know you're going to want this mango sticky rice."
Oh,
There's a
it's so
different energy that comes through. There's different words that you use. And so always using words of like, "Let's get this scheduled." "All right, I've got this time or this time, which works best for you?" Like, "I've got the cupcake or the brownie." Tiffany, I did. I was like, "We've got this tiramisu or we've got this molten chocolate cake. Which one are you feeling tonight?" I now gave her a choice between two desserts instead of, do you want dessert or do you not want dessert? It's this whole idea of, where are we questioning and what things are we questioning? Because this is how you close cases. This is how you get more yeses, are by putting correct questions and energy behind it. People feel that. So I just wanted to bring it up of like, how many times are you just saying, do you want dessert? Because here's my receipt. And I know you aren't going to buy this because let's move along. Versus, hey, let's get this scheduled. I know you want to get this done. And do you want to have a porcelain crown or do you want a ceramic crown? Like, I don't care which one you choose. Do we want to do this treatment all together or do we want to do the first quadrant? Why are we not giving those kind of choices rather than, do you want to do treatment or do you not want to do treatment?
For sure. And I think as you're speaking, I'm thinking, holy cow, we can apply this to everything. Because think about fluoride. How many times do we assume the no on fluoride? And we treat fluoride like the dessert, right? You get the cleaning, you get the exam, you got all the x-rays, you got all of these pieces. Well, the dessert is your fluoride. So are you going to, like, are you wanting fluoride today? Or are you tapped out of time, right? Are you tapped out of dental today? Or
Are you tapped
are we
out of
going to
those
go
30
ahead?
seconds? Just
Yeah,
curious.
exactly. Or are we going to go ahead and like do this dessert situation and get the icing on top of the cake? So I think of fluoride too, of assuming that yes from the get-go. So at the beginning of the appointment being like, oh, and at the end we'll go ahead and place that fluoride for you. It's going to be fantastic. And out of pocket we can look at probably just $35 if for whatever reason insurance doesn't cover it. So then we move forward and we get the things done. But assuming that yes on the fluoride, assuming the yes on all those pieces, and that's how clinical team, it's also going to pertain to you. Then also doctors, I don't know if you pulled this out, but as Kiera's talking, she said tiramisu or molten chocolate cake. She did not say, all right, I've got a list for you. We've got lemon poppy seed muffin. We've got bagel you can choose from. We've got tiramisu. We've got chocolate molten cake. We've got regular chocolate cake. We've got 16 different cupcake flavors. And then also you can have a chocolate chip cookie and you can add ice cream on top if you want it a la mode.
Oh, and also if you want to like add chocolate sauce on that, you can also do that. Plus you can put cherries on top.
Yes.
And or you can like pay for your neighbor's dessert too while we're at this. Like,
Yeah. So
stop the madness.
6,000 options. Kira's going to be like, no, Tiff, I'm good. I don't need dessert. It's overwhelming. But if you can narrow your diagnosis and your options down to 2 or 3, 3 at the very most, 2 if 2 is best, now it's a chocolate vanilla chews situation. I know you've heard Kiera talk about chocolate vanilla chews, and you get to choose which flavor you want instead of being overwhelmed. So there's the aspect of they're assuming you do not want dessert. And then there's the aspect of they're overwhelming you with too many options. Both of those are going to get a no. But if you can assume the yes, you can give 2 valuable options and allow them to choose which will work best for them. You're gonna get the sale. You're gonna get the yes on that almost every time. And fluoride, if they said no to fluoride today, you laid the foundation, you guys. I hate hearing hygienists say, "Oh, nobody wants it." Well, guess what? Nobody wants it because they've never heard you talk about it. So talk about it, okay? So lay the foundation today because guess what? They're coming back in 3 to 6 months and they'll be in your chair again. I had a hygienist the other day, didn't even mention it to me. I didn't think about it, right? My cleaning's done. My doctor comes in for the exam and the doctor was like, oh, you're doing fluoride today, right? And I said, yeah, actually I am. And the hygienist was like, oh, I'll get it out. And I was like, girlfriend, yeah, I know you personally.
You should have had that fluoride on your tray because you know I'm doing this.
And you know what I said to her? So the doctor laughed and I said, I don't have to do the fluoride. Like if you have to go get it and everything, like I don't have a lot of time. So I got to get out of here. She's like, oh no, it's just right here. But I said yes to the doctor and then was willing as a dental consultant, knowing that I want fluoride, I was willing to be like, no, actually it's fine if it's going to take you too long to get it because she wasn't prepared with it.
Mm-hmm. I love I love that you just tied this into diagnosis and fluoride and painting the picture of like, this is the dessert and how many places are there dessert. And I just think it's crazy how much assuming patients want to do this, because I was thinking one other scenario where someone's going to say no is when you have the waitress, and we all know it, hand on the hip of like, all right, so Tiff, for dessert tonight, we have like this like weird chocolate cake and we've got, like a bagel and we've got a cookie. Do you want any of those?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm
Thanks.
good. because she's
And
totally
my food
disinterested.
was subpar because you're not
Probably.
excited about anything.
Right? And so also you not being excited about the treatment or helping them realize how this is going to get them where they want to go. And I know I'm equating restaurant experiences to dentistry, but the reality is they're experiences of life and these are
Yeah.
experiences we all can connect with. And so for you knowing an experience you sit in, how are you doing the exact same thing in your dental practice because you are? That hygienist that you just listed, I'm like, "Oh girl, you need that fluoride on your tray every single time
Yes.
because you assume Tiff's going to say yes to you. You know it's going to take you 30 seconds. And if she says no, you're like, hey, well, you're missing out. The caramel one tastes just like caramels. And you're going to
Yeah.
have like chewy on your teeth for like the next hour. Patients love it. That's
So
true.
fun.
It's true. That chewy caramel. I'm like, wow, and this is fluoride? Like
Mhm.
so many things. Or you can tell them the benefits of like Tiff. It's literally 30 seconds for the next 4 months of your life. You got 30 seconds so we can save your teeth for 4 months. I think it should be a yes.
For
How
sure.
you present it, how you say it is going to get you more yeses. And so if you're getting a lot of patients saying no, my hunch is you're being this server who's either not offering and assuming they don't want it, you're being disinterested in just saying it because you heard it on a podcast, or you're overwhelming them with a bajillion options that they're like, I'm not saying no yes to you. I'm going to just say no and get the heck out of here. So look to see which one of those is your kryptonite. Which one of those are you not offering? Are you not giving them a great experience? Or are you just assuming they don't want it? Like, which one is it? Figure out which one it is for you because if you can change this, you will get more yeses, you'll have happier patients, and dessert is a really happy experience. So I
Yeah.
love it. It's fun. It's a great like cherry on top of your dinner. Dentistry is a great cherry on top of your life. If we can help them have great teeth that are going to last them for life, like let's just tie it all the way to dessert, they get to chew and experience food at a level that is super better than like no, I mean, I can't even imagine having dentures. Like, do you realize the quality of your life that's going to go down? So like one, you're going to help them chew and have a better quality of life that way. Two, better nutrition. Three, more confidence because now they can smile. Like it's truly the cherry on life of fulfillment is what I believe our smiles and our teeth do for us.
I agree. And I think like your presentation was awesome, right? Like the showing the difference in presentation. And really when we assume the yes and we're just like, I'm providing an awesome service to an awesome person. And we can have that mindset about it and we can come in like, this is going to be amazing and you're going to love it. You cannot fake that for very long, right? Like you
Mhm.
can't show up as this person for very long without it infiltrating whatever the heck you got going on underneath. And next thing you know, you're like, why am I so happy? Well, you're happy because you're treating people really well and you're excited about life and you're excited about what you can do for these people. So it's changing how you show up. It's literally changing you from the inside out. And I think it's so cool and it's so easy. And like, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you want to show up happier every day?
Oh, I love it. So let's add a little happiness to your life or a lot of happiness. Let's help more patients and let's have more fun. I think check, check, check. Who's in this? Let's get this going. Notice how I said, who's in this? That's technically a yes or a no. So I just kept talking and say, let's do this. I'm going to get you all on board with this. Check to see what your kryptonite is. Which one are you guilty of? And maybe this is a great podcast to roll out as a team. Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
all listen to this and say, all right, where are we doing this? And let's dive into it and let's role play how we could say this differently. Do not for 3 seconds think that the restaurants who do really well did not practice it. Do not think for 3 seconds they haven't been fine tuning it and refining it and trying to figure out how best to get patients or clients to say yes. I know that they're practicing it. So you guys can practice too. And if you need help because you feel awkward and you're the doctor who's like, hey, that's so great, Kiera and Tiff. Like, I want my team to do this, but I know if I go in and say, like, hey guys, let's do this, they're going to be like, yeah, 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 no thanks. We actually get paid quite a bit to come in and say exactly what you say. So you're brilliant. It's just we're a secondary source. We're an outside source, and oftentimes that can get results. So if you feel like that's your team, you feel like you can't get through to them, but you want them to do this, reach out. Hello at thedentalateam.com. We're happy to help you. And I'm not going to ask you, do you want consulting? I'm going to say, hey, let's get your life changed. Let's help your team be happier. Let's help you be less stressed. When are we getting started? Because I'm ready for you to start. The second you're ready, we can even have you on a call next week to make your life better, to make your team happier. Instantly, you can have those results. Which one are you going to choose? That's a decision for you to make. But notice how, even in that instance, me saying, do you want to sign up for consulting versus let's get you an incredible life. We can get you going by next week. Shall we do it? Two very different scenarios, two very different outcomes, two very different people, two very different experiences, two very different lives. So Tiff, thanks for being on here. It was real fun to do this one with you.
I agree. That was a perfect topic. You did good picking that one. Thank you.
Of course. And for all of you, choose your kryptonite. Look to see how you can improve this. And if you need help, if you want a different life, it's not even help. Let's not say, do you need help? Let's say, hey, I'm ready for a different life. Reach out. hello@thedentalateam.com. We're happy to help you. And as always, thanks for listening. I'll catch you next time on the Dental A Team Podcast. And that wraps it up for another episode of the Dental A Team Podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.